had a very bad memory, a traumatic one, like an accident or maybe a harsh breakup, that you would like to get rid of without affecting other memories you cherish? Can I see show of hands, please? Quite few of you, as expected. So could I please ask you to look here? And for all the others who didn't raise their hands, kindly close your eyes. But wait a minute here. Is it really possible that we can get rid of memories? Or is it just a crazy notion from sci-fi movies? Well, before I answer this question, let me first take you through the process of how memory researchers, including myself, study memory. There are different types of memories, but we mostly care about emotional memories, because simply if you combine an emotion to a memory, it burns into your brain and can literally persist with you throughout your entire life. Emotions, like happiness, sadness, or maybe fear. So let's take fear as an example because it's very easy to induce in the lab. And to do so, we bring our daily collaborators, the lab animals. We put these lab animals into a box. This box they have never been into before. So as a first response, they like to move everywhere exploring it. But after a while, we give them an electric shock in this box that is mild, but enough though to make them associate that this box is harmful for them. So as every single time you put them back into the box, they remember that the box is harmful and they refuse to move and they freeze out of fear. Great. Now we have successfully created a fear memory. Is it possible that we can get rid of what we have just created? Well, it turns out that amongst the known treatments, there is exposure-based therapy, where you have to confront your fears in order to be able to get rid of it. And this is exactly what we do with the lab animals. So we bring them back into the box. Initially, they remember that the box is harmful and they start freezing. But when we put them back into the box several sessions a day for many consecutive days, the fear tends to go down, what's known as fear extinction. Unfortunately, this fear extinction training is unsuccessful and the animals are not doing it on a regular basis. So if you put them back into the box, the fear resurfaces back. That's known as spontaneous recovery of the fear. The good news here is, recently, from our own research in the lab, we have found out that there is a drug. If the animals are taking this drug, it enhances their extinction learning. And even if they are not doing the extinction training, the fear never comes back again. So in conclusion, and to come back to my first question, with this new approach, I believe that it's quite possible that we can get rid of traumatic memories, and for all of you who've raised your hands in the beginning hoping to get rid of your own traumatic memories, don't worry at all, soon we will have the means to. Yay. Imagine with me that you decided to rob a bank, and while inside the bank, ordering the banker to fill your badge with the money, you suddenly realize that your mask is still around your neck. That would be rather embarrassing, right? So you quickly pull it over your face. And then you look for your gun to discover that you, oops, forgot it with your partner who's waiting for you outside in the car. At that point, that's an utter failure. Well, this is not a joke, it happened in real life in Auckland, New Zealand. It was referred to as the most amusing robbery ever, where the people and the banker were giggling, giving the money. Who, by the way, got arrested 2 hours later after fleeing with the money. So what happened to our incompetent robber here is called absent-mindedness, where you simply forget what you initially planned for. This is only one error out of many errors our memories could easily commit. But sometimes forgetting to remember is by far better than recalling a memory that never happened. Allow me to explain. In 1975 in Melbourne, Australia, a lady got raped, but she gave a vivid description of the perpetrator to the police, leading them to his door. When they arrested the guy, he had a bulletproof alibi. It turned out that this guy is the psychology professor Donald Thompson, and at the same exact time, when the crime took place, he was on live TV, being interviewed by a police commissioner discussing memory distortions. So what really happened was she was watching this show, the real rapist broke into her place and did what he did, and she mistakenly developed a false memory. So So now, if you think that developing a false memory is something infrequent in nature or exclusive to people with memory impairment, maybe you should think again of how many times you were dead sure of switching off the lights or the TV at your place, and then when you return back, you find they are still on. The bottom line here is we all do create false memories on a daily basis, mostly about trivial things. But if in a courtroom and your own lives are on the line because of one of them, then we have to pay more attention to this matter. In the States, there are around 300 people who were convicted based on a false memory of a witness. And after spending up to 30 years behind bars, they were proven innocent by DNA testing. That's quite alarming, and that's why a lot of memory researchers are dedicating their efforts to study false memories in the lab. But before I tell you how to do so, let me maybe do a simple exercise with you. I'll read out loud 2 word lists, and then I'll ask you a couple of questions afterwards. The first word list: candy, sour, sugar, bitter, good, taste, tooth, nice, honey, soda, chocolate, hard, cake, tart, pie. The second word list: mad, wrath, fear, hate, fight, rage, hatred, temper, mean, fury, ire, emotion, enrage. So now please raise your hand if you remember that the word sweet was on the first word list. Keep your hands up, please. Now raise your other hand if you remember that the word anger was on the second word list. That's a lot of you, and this is exactly how they induce a false memory in the lab, because neither of these words was in either of these lists. So in the lab, after the volunteers take the very same exercise like you did, we go inside a big brain scanner. This brain scanner can precisely measure the brain activation, and it turns out that the brain region responsible for hearing shows a very low activation upon the recall of a false memory when compared to the recall of a true memory. So my take-home message here is, by further developing this approach, it's quite possible to have a memory accuracy detector that can filter memories, true from phony. And since not all cases have evidence that's useful for DNA testing, this approach could definitely save lots of innocent lives in the courtroom. Thank you.